No. So if you're wealthy and if you're rich, you don't have to give away your stuff. Jesus isn't against wealthy people. He doesn't think you have to be poor in order to do this. But this is the response that Zacchaeus has. He receives a change in address. Not address. Address. Notice how he addresses Jesus. He says, Lord. In the Greek, it's kurios. And it means he to whom a person or thing belongs, about which he has power of deciding. Master, Lord. The possessor and disposer of a thing. The owner, the one who has control of the person, the master. In the state, it means the sovereign, the prince, the chief, the Roman emperor. Zacchaeus has elevated Jesus to the number one owner of his life by saying Lord. No longer is he just a chief tax collector, an employee of the state. He is now the servant of the Most High God and brother to the Son of God. Zacchaeus recognized who his master was and who his master should be. So who's your master? Your job? Your family? Your relationships? Food? Alcohol? Well, what are you seeking? What is it you're looking for? What are you turning to when you look for that thing? Who are you serving? Look at the time that you spend. Who's allowed to interrupt your schedule? Those are the ones that are your master. Those are the purposes that you serve. For Zacchaeus, we see the evidence of the change in ownership in the actions he committed to. Because Zacchaeus now respected God's ways. According to the Mosaic law, anybody who was found to have stolen something from somebody had to pay back 4 times as much. That was the Mosaic law. Evidently, Zacchaeus had not been doing that. He now publicly states on his word in front of Jesus and everybody, if I have defrauded anybody, I will pay back 4 times as much. I will keep the Mosaic law because God has said it. Now, the Jewish people used to say that 1/5 or 20% of your annual income was a fair amount to give to pious or charitable things, activities. But God never put a limitation in Scripture on the extent of helping those in need. There's places in the Mosaic law that talk about not gleaning your field, not harvesting the corners of your field. Scripture says that in the 7th year, it should not be harvested, it should not be planted, it should not be sowed, so that the land can rest and the poor can come in and they get to have whatever produce happens. It's not for you, it's for the poor and needy. Zacchaeus chose to go beyond the statements of man, that 20%. And he chose to go with God's compassion instead. And he recognized the changed heart that God wanted him to have. And that's why he said, half my possessions I will give to the poor. Because Jesus and God had generously dealt with me, and it's now filled him to overflowing that he can't help but respond that way. He looks around and says, what do I need to do? There's so many poor. I haven't taken care of the poor at all yet. I have a great many back taxes, as Uncle Scrooge would say. Make great many back payments in that at the very end of the movie. Even if the crowd didn't care about him. That's the other thing. Did the crowd change their mind about him? No, they still called him a sinner. Was he a sinner? Yeah. It's accurate. Were they sinners? Yeah. Did they recognize it? No. People in darkness can't see what's in the dark. That's all we have. That's all the time we have today. Go back to the questions on the invitation. Look at your questions again. Where do you find yourself? What kind of person are you described as? What have you been seeking? What are the things you've been pursuing? How do people describe you? Do you realize that you can't do it on your own? Do you realize that nobody else can do it for you? Again, Jeremiah 29:11-13. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans for welfare, not for calamity, to give you a future and a hope. And then you will call upon me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. And you will will seek me and find me when you search for me with all your heart. This morning you have an opportunity, again, to seek him with all your heart. You don't need to climb a sycamore tree. But maybe you need to climb the hill of the cross. Maybe you need to spend some time at his feet saying, God, I'm sorry I was pursuing this other stuff. I might have to this week. Like I said, it was multiple times this week. So I'm glad to have fellow people at the cross with me. Because we all need to be there. Let's pray. Lord God, we thank you so much for this day. Thank you for the opportunity you give us to be children of a loving and compassionate, caring God. God, I thank you for the multiple chances you give us, the grace, the mercy, the love. I thank you that, Lord, in a huge planet with billions of people, you know my name. And Father, as I heard earlier this week, it doesn't matter if I know you or I know about you. What matters is you know me. It matters that we have a relationship. It matters that you and I spend time together and I make you your first and foremost. So Father, this morning, start with me. Correct me. And show me the things that I need to abandon for you. And Lord, like Zacchaeus, may I go back to my job. Lord, may I go back to the things you set up. And Lord, may I be the one to stand and be the light. Lord, to share with others, and reach out to them with the graciousness and generosity you've given me. This morning, if you need something to pray with, I'd be glad to pray with you. If you need to spend time at the foot of the cross, you can come forward and come and pray at the altar. You can pray where you are. Take this time to you and God.